Welcome back, Awakened Savages, and today we're talking about one of the most important parts in this awakening journey, and that's our family. Because our family isn't a distraction from our mission, it's the mirror of our mission. Because let me tell you something that I did not want to admit for years. I used to show up like an absolute savage in the gym, right? The barber shop was booming, client feedback was amazing. Everyone thought I had everything handled. But see, when I walked through the door at home, I felt fucking exhausted. I had nothing left, right? No fire for my wife, I wasn't really present with the kids. I had no patience, no softness, and fucking no real connection. And for a long time, I told myself the same fucking lie that I believed. I'm doing this for them. They'll understand one day. I'm a provider. This is my job. That's bullshit. Okay? Because what I was really doing, I was hiding behind my performance because it's easier to be respected by strangers than to be present with your own family. It's easier to build a brand than to rebuild trust. It's easier to post fucking wisdom quotes online than to speak with real integrity at the dinner table. And this is the real raw truth that most high functioning men avoid. If you're not leading at home, you are performing outside. And don't get it twisted, right? I'm not here attacking your grind. Yes, we have to provide, okay? This isn't about shaming you. This is a wake up call for every man who's built success on the outside, but fucking feels empty and hollow on the inside. Because see, your home, your family, your wife, your children, that's where the real man shows up. Not the one who's on stage, not the one who's fucking on camera, the one behind closed doors who's bare, real, raw, honest, present. Okay? And that's what today's all about. I'm not talking about performance, talking about presence, about how to stop performing for the world and start fucking leading for real where it matters in your own home. Okay? Let's walk into this mirror side by side and see what we find on the other side. Because believe you me, legacy is built in the home, right? Because you ever notice how easy it is to show up for other people, to show up at work, to show up at the party, right? And how hard it is to be like that in your own fucking living room. Right now, this is not weakness. It's not because you're a bad man. It's because no one trained you how to lead where it matters most. See, in the outside world, the rules are very clear. Produce, perform, provide, right? There are metrics, deadlines, praise, payoffs. But see, at home, there's no applause for making your wife feel seen. No spreadsheets for earning your kids' trust, right? No KPIs for presence, right? And this is where the shadow creeps in. See, when a man trades depth for dominance, when he becomes a provider but forgets to be a protector of peace, of trust, of presence, right? Because most men avoid leadership at home because home mirrors who they really are. See, at work, you can hide behind fucking titles. In public, you can fucking posture, right? But see, your wife, she sees through all that bullshit well-minded anyway. And see, your kids, they feel everything that you suppress. They're like sponges, right? So what do? We default to the patterns we saw growing up, right? Shut down like dad, or be absent like dad, right? Over control like mum, demanding, right? Escape into silence, anger, or fucking hustle and grind. But just because it was modelled for you doesn't mean it has to define you, right? Because your nervous system plays a massive role in all of this. When the home feels emotionally unpredictable, or when deep connection was never modelled to you growing up, your system doesn't register family as safety. It registers it as emotional chaos. So then what does your brain do? It protects you the only way it knows how, with detachment, irritability, avoidance. Right? This is why you can go and fucking deadlift 200 kilograms, but lose your temper when your kid spills milk. Because you're not weak, right? You're just miscalibrated, right? And it's not just emotional, it's energetic. Right? When a man is disconnected at home, his entire field begins to leak power. Right? He works harder but feels less fulfilled. Meditates more but feels fucking even number. Right? He serves strangers but doesn't serve his wife. This isn't burnout. This is a betrayal of your mission. Not the mission of the grind, the mission of becoming whole. Right? And let's look at where your field is leaking power and how we can seal it before it costs you everything. Right? So if you want to know where your energy goes, it's not just the hours you work. It's not just the gym. It's not even the stress. It's also the fucking lies you tolerate. Now, I'm not talking about big fucking dramatic lies. I'm talking about those subtle lies, right? Like saying everything's fine when your house feels like a fucking pressure cooker, right? Just nodding along when your partner speaks, but not really listening to her, right? Or showing up physically, but you're checked out emotionally, right? This isn't tiring because you did too much. You're tired because your energy is being drained in the background. Fucking like the apps on your phone, they continue to run but never shut off. Right? And let's look at the leak of emotional withholding. Right? You hold back what you really feel because you think silence keeps the peace. But it fucking doesn't. It actually builds pressure, resentment, disconnection. Your wife is not a fucking mind reader, right? And she doesn't need you to be perfect. She needs you to be fucking honest. Every time you suppress what's real, your field goes into distortion. You leak power. You leak presence. A man who doesn't speak his truth at home, he can't hold his power in the world. Right? And then the leak of passive presence. Right? You're there, but you're not really there. You walk into, from work and you're fucking scrolling your phone. You nod through the dinner talk, but you're thinking about the email. You pretend to listen, but your energy's just fucking flatlined. That's not presence. That's proximity without power. And see, your kids, they can feel that shit, right? Your partner fucking knows it. Even your own body starts to shut down because there's no full signal coming through it. Right? Being in the room isn't the same as leading the room. Right? And then we'll look at the last one, the last leak of misplaced masculine charge. When you're not owning your edge at home, it finds other outlets. You get snappy over little bullshit things. You drift towards porn, distraction, alcohol, drugs. You start fantasizing about escape, not because you're unfaithful, but because you're unexpressed. Right? It's not that you're a fucking bad man. It's that your masculine power has nowhere to go, so it just fragments. And unused masculine energy turns into pressure, and uncontained pressure turns into collapse or a fucking explosion. Right? So if your mission burns outside the home, right, but feels numb inside it, your power is leaking at the foundation. Right? The man you are with your family, that's the real you, not the version on a fucking boardroom table or a podcast mic or on stage, not the one benching PRs or building businesses. That's the test. That's the test. And when you start passing it, your whole field realigns. Okay? Because see this struggle, right? This pull between mission and home, performance and presence, right? This has been around for as fucking long as time's been around. Right? Warriors, kings, mystics, monks, they've all faced this mirror. Okay, maybe in different formats, right? But what we are rediscovering today, they lived as law. Right? The samurais weren't just killers with discipline. They trained to be still inside before drawing the blade. Their true edge wasn't the sword, it was their presence. At home, they practiced Om, quiet honor. Right? In the dojo, it was Bushido, the way of the warrior. But both realms mattered. See, a samurai who disrespected his household, he wasn't seen as powerful. He was seen as a man out of integrity. And then if we look at the West, the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, they didn't write philosophy to sound clever. They wrote it to face their own home with strength. Marcus Aurelius ran a massive empire, but if you read his journals, he was writing to himself about how to stay calm with his children. Right? What matters most is how you carry yourself when no one is watching. Right? The living room, the kitchen table. That's where the real strength shows up. And the Taoists, right, they taught that masculine energy has two sides. The yang, outward, action, mission. The yin, right, repetitive presence, awe. They knew that if you bring all yang into your home, you destroy connection. If you bring all yin into the world, you lose your edge. Balance was the mastery. Inner harmony created outer impact. And even if we look at Hermetic law, right, as within, so without. If your home is chaotic, disconnected, cold, you can't fix it by working more or meditating harder. You fix it by becoming congruent. Right? The man who leads the world must first lead his household. And see, the man who leads his household must first lead himself. This isn't about perfection. The ancients didn't try to have it all together. They practiced daily. They failed forward, but they never abandoned their inner altar, the part of them that stayed true in every single role. Right? So take this in. You're not alone in this work. Right? You're not the first to feel the weight of it, but you are responsible how you meet it now and how you move forward. Right? And let's move into the way that you can get your power back. Okay? You don't feel power at home because you haven't trained yourself to be powerful there. You've trained yourself to perform, to grind, to produce. But see, presence, stillness, showing up fully at the dinner table without checking out mentally, that takes a different type of training. Okay? And let's go through some tools for your toolbox, right? So step one, this is something that I learned from Brendan Burchard, right? And it changed my life immediately. Okay? The 5-minute Dolby reset, right? See, before you walk into your home, you've finished your work, and at the end of the day, before you walk into your home, right? Maybe you're sitting in the car, maybe you're standing around the corner, right? Pause, right? Just breathe deep and drop into yourself and ask yourself, who do I want to be when I walk through that door? Who do I want my children to see and feel when I walk through that door? Who do I want my wife to feel when I walk through that door? Right? Not what do I want to get done? Not what kind of mood am I in? Who do I want to be and who do I want to be seen and felt as? This recenters your nervous system. You stop reacting from stress and you start responding from alignment. Right? Most fights at home don't come from what we say, they come from the energy that we bring to the table. Okay? Step number 2, just a micro mission presence. Right? Pick one thing, just one thing that you can fully own each day at your home. Maybe reading a story at bedtime with your kids. Maybe it's loading the dishwasher. Maybe it's cleaning up after dinner. Maybe it's making dinner, right? Maybe it's doing the laundry, right? With awareness instead of resentment, right? Do something that's going to bring something to your home that you know that your wife would appreciate, that you know that your kids would love, right? Own it. No phone, no multitasking. Just fully show up and be grateful that you have a family to be with. Because leadership is forced in repetition. And see, every time you choose presence over performance, your home recalibrates to trust. Okay, step 3, just a weekly integrity review. Sunday night takes 10 minutes. Ask yourself, did I lead my home this week? Where did I check out or avoid truth? What would leadership look like next week in action? Right? This is not about beating yourself up. This is a diagnostics check. Right? This is just like a warrior sharpening his blade. Right? And number 4, rebuild that inner signal. This is the part that no one talks about. If you don't feel like a leader at home, it's usually because your inner signal is scrambled. So see, every morning before the world gets to you, fucking journal, right? And ask yourself, what would leadership look like today? In presence, not performance. Where can I show up and not show off? What does my version of masculine leadership feel like? Let it calibrate you. Let it lead you. Right? You don't reclaim power through domination. You reclaim it through coherence. See, when your values, your energy, and your actions line up, your family feel it. Right? You start to hold the room again. And not because you're loud, but because you're fucking aligned. This is your mission now. Okay? You didn't come this far just to fucking cope better. You didn't watch this to feel a little more grounded at home. You came here and clicked on this because deep down you know what I'm talking about is real. This is legacy work. The world taught you to lead in the external, to build, to produce, to perform. But what your children will remember, what your wife, your partner will feel in their bones is the energy you brought when all the masks were off. Right? The quiet steadiness, the grounded fire, the presence. Right? When a man reclaims his leadership at home, he stops being a ghost in his own fucking life. You stop performing for the world and you start building a world that reflects your truth. So this isn't about healing old wounds. It's not about fixing your marriage or being more patient with your kids. It's about becoming the man you're always supposed to be, even behind closed doors. The kind of man whose family feels safe when life is fucking madness. The kind of father whose kids don't fear him, but they feel him. Kind of partner whose love has weight, not fucking bullshit and fluff. Right? You don't get that from theory. You earn that in the trenches, right? In the quiet choices, the mundane moments, the reps that no one sees. And every time you choose presence over projection, truth over tension, leadership over ego, you build it, you seal it. Right? You're not just breaking generational cycles, you're building generational strength. Let them remember you, not for your hustle, but for your fucking heart, for the man who showed up fully, freely, finally. That's what this is. That's who you are now. And that's the legacy that you're here to build. So let's keep walking this path together, brother. One aligned step at a time. Your family feels you now. So stay in there because you're not alone. We're here on this journey together. And as always, I appreciate you being here with me on this journey, walking together side by side. And I love you from the bottom of my heart. So thank you. I truly appreciate you. And I'll catch you on the next one. Got a video here and you can subscribe here. Take care. Bye.